Hello, World Civ 107. I'm giving you an announcement a little bit later in the week, but I've noticed it doesn't look like a lot of you that are watching the videos are really watching them necessarily right away when I post them. In any case, I usually do try to get these up on Sundays. Quick note, most of you are doing great, but some of you, even though maybe the first time you're putting works cited um, and dates for time periods covered, some of you are forgetting to do that. This is the last week that I will let you resubmit. This needs to be understood. I don't give you hard exams that make you memorize a lot of dates, but when you write a history paper, if there's not dates showing the time periods covered in the discussion, it's not a history paper and it gets 0 points, okay? And the works cited issue, you will take about 50% off of your grade without a works cited. And you just have to do it the way that I gave an example even on the works cited from an announcement. So you should be watching all of my announcements. I try not to make them too long and still put information and context to what you need to know in the class, okay? But if you're watching this, you've probably been doing that already anyway. So anyhow, okay, so in this section, you'll notice that I had like 2 chapters. There was the absolute monarch, and then I covered Russia. And I just did the crash course on the Enlightenment with the absolute monarchs. I go over this a lot in Western Civ. This is a topic that is very central to Western civilization. And this is a world civilization class, and the Western world is a part of the entire world. But I wanted to put an emphasis on some things that I thought were more outside of the box for what you normally get when you're not. In other words, this World Civ class gives me an opportunity to expose you to things that you may never be exposed to somewhere else. So I look for that. So while we're covering the Western world in this particular situation, and the Western world is a part of the world at large, I thought Russia, to emphasize and put a kind of spotlight on Russia, was good, because Russia, as I pointed out in the lectures, is often viewed as the odd man out, if you want to put it that terms, when it comes to Russia, to Europe. That goes all the way up to now. Understanding this time period is so crucial into understanding what we're going to be dealing with the Cold War and the whole Russia conspiracy, or not. I shouldn't get involved in that. You know, the whole topic of Russia being an influence on our elections, and there's a lot packed into that. But you know, this really, I mean, before the situation with our current president and the debate about the elections, Russia has always been seen as kind of a conspiracy into American political life and a part of movies going all the way into Europe, you know, the Cold Wars with communism. But what people don't realize is that, I think I might have talked about it a little bit here, and we might go over it a little bit again later. In the 19th century, when Russia attacks the Ottoman Empire in the name of saving Christians, you would think that Western Europe, that are identifying at the time still very Christian societies, would back Russia against a Muslim superpower competitor. But in fact, Western Europe was more afraid of rising Russian power than they were of the Ottoman Empire. And in the Crimean War, that's called the Crimean War, the British and the French joined an alliance with the Muslim Ottoman Empire to push back Russia, because they feared that Russia gaining more power through this would upset the balance of power within Western Europe in a way that they were afraid of. This is a long tradition of this Russia being on the outs, even though Russia is still in. And when I say Russia, I'm also sometimes, in some senses, it gets more complicated when we talk about all of the Slavic dominated nations ethnic groups from Poland, from the Ukraine, and on. And we're not going to cover that now. I just wanted you to get to thinking about why what you're studying now is so important to understanding some of the issues to this day. And so, really, we have a history of mistrust, where Europeans and Americans feel they can justify having a kind of not trusting Russia, and Russia feels absolutely justified in feeling the same. And so, I mean, I can go on and on about this and give examples over and over again. And what I'll probably do in announcements as we cover more history in the future on dealing with the Cold War, I will revisit some of this topic for you. So yeah, this is very important information to get an understanding of. And I posted a cut out of a philosopher named Alexander Dugin that is talking about Putin, and this was from about, I think, 2006 or 16. Alexander Dugin is viewed as a really controversial figure, and you probably haven't heard of him. And he had his own vlogging show, and just to be real, he was very pro-Trump as well. I don't like to step into our modern political discourse with all the controversies now, but it's just been, for those of us who are really into politics and observing world historical events and all the different factors coming in, it always keeps old history and modern history very alive and well. I will say that whether I'm happy or not about things that I see in the world, I'm never bored. And so I wanted you to see that those comments and just think about some of the mindset of some of the political leaders over there on that side of the world. And so you have any questions, contact me. I am still working 7 days a week. I really am, between my other job and being with you guys here. Some of you have been texting me when you have quick questions. That's a great idea. And I think you're noticing that I respond pretty fast when I get a text, okay? So I'll leave it at that, and I hope you're having a great week.